Welcome to the Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions podcast with Brent Bailey. And at the tech booth, Jody Cook-Bailey and Luke Cardiel. We are growing our circles of connections and knowledge together with encouraging conversations and positive communications. And now, Brent Bailey.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Expanding Your Search and Stopping for Directions. It's Brent Bailey. I hope you're having a great day today wherever you are. Those of you who are joining us around the world on our podcast platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Roku, Amazon Fire. Man, the list just keeps on going. So grateful to have you with us today. I'm joined right now over at the tech booth by Jody and by Luke. And hey, you guys, let's get this show on the road today, shall we?
Yes, we should.
All right. So there's lots of stuff going on. What could we talk about today?
Well, what we could talk about is one of your favorite foods.
I know. I was letting you set that up.
Yeah. National Peanut Butter Fudge Day. Yeah, it's getting into the holiday season.
It is. So it's time to
we're
start
like a week away
taking
from
it to
Thanksgiving.
That's right.
And so,
Actually, less than a week, right?
Oh, less than a week, yeah. But the weekend, I mean.
We shouldn't be talking about this, though, because, we're talking about the movie that's based on Dr. Michelle Sherwood's life.
Yeah.
They're health people.
They are.
So we probably shouldn't talk about.
No,
oh, yeah,
we shouldn't, but we are
looks
anyway.
like he's ripped, man.
Oh, you
He
should
is
see
ripped,
her.
Yeah.
I mean, when we had her on the program Wednesday, she just did a headshot. She is as imposing as he is. So anyway, happy National Peanut Butter
Fudge Day.
And that's personally my favorite. I love peanut butter fudge.
It is your favorite. It is really good, especially. We've had family members make it at Thanksgiving and
you know what?
Christmas.
Now, I just can't eat any kind. I mean, like we went down to Kilwins, which is in downtown Celebration for you folks here in Orlando. And it's a candy, ice cream, fudge type store. And I wasn't crazy about their peanut butter fudge. But now here's the thing, and this might be the good question for the day. How do you like your fudge? Do you like it real creamy and soft? Or do you like it just a little, not like crunchy like a candy bar or anything, but just
like
a
crumbly?
little firm. Crumbly's probably the.
Yeah.
I personally like it a little more crumbly.
Me too.
Yeah, if it's too creamy, it just kind of, So, but their flavor was good. I'm just not crazy about the texture. So
it was
right now
too
it's in the
soft.
refrigerator and it's kind of drying out a little bit to maybe firm up a little bit. So
right.
Anyway.
So you're not going to really.
How do
eat it
you
till
like
after
your
Christmas.
fudge and what's your favorite flavor?
Yeah, what's your favorite flavor? There's so many flavors.
I love peanut butter.
Yeah.
Fudge.
Yes, you do. Today is also National Absurdity Day. So
that's so absurd.
I know that's a type of comedy. Absurd humor.
Well,
like it's so outlandish.
Oddness and weirdness take over is what the explanation.
Well, I was going to say it's not just a comedy thing.
No.
It's
actually throughout history. It says bizarre occurrences mark the calendar. So things that happen and really
when
absurd,
things don't work right.
Yeah,
people say that's absurd.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
So National Absurd.
How do we celebrate that?
We celebrate it. Doing whatever absurd things that pop into your mind. So,
all right,
if
I'm doing something.
You're doing something. Yeah, you're smelling your. That's just a box.
It doesn't matter.
It
the
does
smell is
like
still
Kentucky Fried Chicken. Don't eat the box. We want to keep the box.
Oh, so good there.
You're gonna be even more absurd if you.
You've all seen
eat the
it.
log.
He just did something absurd. Yeah,
those of you who are watching online have not. Look, Luke, it's gone.
Oh,
I did eat the log. I'm talking, of course, about the fireplace log, fire starting log. For those of you who are listening on audio platform today, KFC, we've talked about it several times here on the show, has a fire starting log that smells like the 11 herbs and spices of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
It does.
So that's what the absurdity was all about just now for us.
Yes. And
anyway.
So we'll move on.
All right. What else is going on today?
The last one on my list is National Child's Day. So what that means is,
does that mean we can all celebrate because we were all children at one time?
I guess.
Is this the Baby Yoda holiday? What is that?
Baby Yoda.
I mean, he is called the child.
Yeah, he is called the child.
What is it?
It's celebrating and recognizing children's dreams and their goals in their life.
Oh, that's nice.
You ask your kids, and I remember being asked as a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? And so,
what was your answer?
It just depended. But
Luke, what was your answer?
A singer, for sure.
Legit, I would always just say, I don't know.
All right, there's a couple of funny stories here. I remember in kindergarten. Now, see, everybody always said, fireman, policeman.
Right.
Everybody always said those things. I don't know why, but something in my head popped into my head that day. When they asked me, I said, I want to be a fisherman.
And
so then they went out and they took a picture of, and for some reason, it was so random. On the property, and I went to school at a Nazarene church, had a kindergarten in it. So I went to the Nazarene church, and somewhere reason on their property, they had this old wooden John boat that we would play in as kids. We would play in it, driving a boat. And we went out to that old boat. I stood in the side with a fisherman's hat and a rubber jaws shark. It's about this long, tied on there, and it's hanging off. My pole's bending over. And I remember being so proud. I remember my parents going, why would you say fisherman? Because my dad was a building contractor. He thought I would say builder. Mm-hmm. So I'm standing there with this big smile on my face. I'd only been fishing a handful of times in my life at that point. And so I'm standing there with this big smile on my face looking at it. And it comes to me that night, and they say, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I go, I want to be a fisherman. Laughter spreads through the whole entire, and I'm just like, why is that funny? I remember it to this day. So nobody celebrated with me on National Child's Day.
Yeah, but they should have known.
You know what's funny is you say, I do remember one thing I knew I did not want to be when I was a child.
And that was?
I didn't want to work in the ministry.
It's so funny that you say that, because now I look at that now and I go, that had to be a prophetic thing,
right.
Because
that's what I
grew up to be a fisherman, a fisher of men.
Exactly.
You know why though? It's because people at church would always come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're going to be a pastor one day," and I'm like, "You don't even know.
You don't know me.
Yeah, you don't know me like that." I would just get so annoyed.
No.
That's so funny, and you ended up in ministry. So
yep.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
So, all right. So. What you do? Well, I mean, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, I mean, I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a singer for sure. However, I went through a stage where I wanted to be a nurse.
Yeah,
I really don't know. I guess that was just one of those.
Every young girl probably thinks that at some point.
So,
I could see you doing that though.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're very kind. You're sweet.
That
person.
side of it, sure, but the blood and giving shots, I'm not so sure I could do that.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's possible.
If
I had to,
you gotta give someone a shot and you pass.
Yeah, pass
exactly.
out.
Exactly. Hey,
listen, I actually had to do that. Jody and I, when we were younger, and we were trying to get pregnant, and we went through several infertility things, and I had to give Jody shots every night, and I was pretty good at it, wasn't I?
You were. Yeah, that's a really good story.
It's like another life. I was a doctor. If we believe.
I always say that I refer to you as Daddy wants to be a doctor when I tell the kids.
I wish. If
because
you didn't have to go to
when somebody
school for
hurts
60
themselves,
years, it'd be great.
Or they have some kind of a sore or something, it's like. But I think you got that from your grandfather.
Yeah. So question of the day: what did you want to be when you grew up? Put us in the comments as you hit the share button.
Yeah.
Tell us what was your dream of what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Yes.
Down below. All right. This day in 1982. November 20th, 1982. This is the day that the University of California beat Stanford as the band ran on the field. They thought the time had expired. The band ran out on the field, and so they were able to kind of weave in and out between, and nobody could tackle the California guy. And they scored, and it actually counted.
Amazing.
Today on that was one of the most famous sports clips of all time. Google it sometime. Cal beat Stanford today, 1982.
Amazing.
As the band ran out on the field.
That's
All right.
cool.
So that's what's going on around the country. Let's jump into our guests as we expand your search. All right, our guest today is Svetlana Simmons. She is playing in this upcoming movie called The Prayer List, that is the life story of our good friend Dr. Mark Sherwood, his wife, Dr. Michele Sherwood. She was known as Dr. Michele, or as just Michele Neil then, and they've done a movie about her life that just seems to be absolutely incredible. We're going to throw some information up on the screen right now. It's called The Prayer List, and it is a story about Dr. Michele. You can get more information about it at Prayer List Movie on Facebook and theprayerlistmovie.com if you'd like to get some more information about it. And our guest today is Svetlana Simmons, who is playing Dr. Michele in the movie. So before we get to her, let's take a look at this clip.
Come on. Don't you think this story is getting a little hard to believe? Well, I mean, she's working on being a homeless Olympic champion, and now she has somebody footing the bill for college so she can become a doctor?
She became a doctor, dude.
And a woman can be anything she wants to be.
Yes.
She puts her mind to it.
Yes.
What?
I've been learning a lot more about my patients outside of this clinic than I have been able to learn while they are here.
Patients come to this clinic for our expertise and our ability to quickly diagnose their symptoms, not to become our friends, and certainly not to become their own clinic project. And I have no choice but to really agree with your contract. We're done here.
This list is your clinic. We have to pray on the list so that in all of God's glory, each item on the list will come to a fruitful and gratifying beginning.
All right, wow, that looks so exciting. I'm so excited to have on the program today. This is Svetlana Simmons. She's playing Dr. Michele Neil in the upcoming movie, The Prayer List. First of all, Svetlana, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Oh, what we've seen of the movie now, we haven't got to see the whole thing yet. It looks really good, and Dr. Michele's story is very inspiring, I'm sure. But before we get into that, let's talk about you. I know that this is a new adventure to be starring in a movie is really something new. How did you get started doing this?
Well, I have to say I give credit to my husband. I saw the opportunity come by and I was like, should I do this? And he's like, babe, you'll never know unless you try. It was a very short notice and I auditioned, and honestly, 2 weeks went by. I didn't think they were going to call me back. And sure enough, they called me back and said, we want you to do this. So I was like, okay, well, here we go. I've never done anything like this. And so I'm truly honored to be part of such an incredible story.
That was going to be my next question. Have you done acting before?
No, sir, I have not. I've done other things, but not acting. And it was an incredible journey for me, a huge learning opportunity. But once you get into feeling the person's story and emotion, it becomes you. It becomes natural. And so that's what I learned.
So tell us a little bit about your background, so our audience that's getting it's going to see this movie will know a little bit about you. What's your background? I know that you're a real estate agent, but what else has gone on in your life?
Yeah, so I've been in Tulsa for about 20 years. I've got 3 kids, Hannah, Sarah, and Joseph. And last year, on November 30th, I got remarried to a wonderful man named John. And he's also got 3 boys, 3 kids. And so I've got 3, he's got 3. We are like the modern Brady Bunch.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that.
Yes, 6 kids. It's like a million kids. So it feels like it. So we stay pretty busy. We're active. And yes, I'm doing real estate and opening up a brand new branch with McGraw Realtors in Hot Springs, Arkansas right now. So
now I thought I read on your bio that you've also done pastoral ministry. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So I was on staff at Victory Christian Center for over 10 years, worked with young married couples and just over 500 family units. It was exciting. It taught me to connect with people, to hear people, to see that people come from all sorts of walks of life, and just to know how to relate to them. And today I take all those skills and that heart of compassion everywhere I go.
Yeah, I feel you. I actually, that's so funny because I was actually on staff across town from you at Rhema, so I know exactly what you're talking about. You get involved into this picture. How did you know the Sherwoods going into that?
So, interesting story. About 6 years ago, I took my mom to see Dr. Sherwood. I'm not sure if she was married at that time, but I went to see her. And I brought my mom in, and I was just really intrigued by the way she took time to listen to my mom. I was curious about her. So I even asked her some personal questions. Hey, what about this and that? And she told me a few pointers that through the years, I always remembered and said that doctor was interesting. She was different. She told me concepts about even like the sleep cycle, different than any other doctor has. So she's never left my mind. And then all of a sudden, I'm playing her in a movie. It was really neat to find out that I've met her and I've thought about her all these years, and here we are.
That's so cool. Now, as you're preparing for to play somebody like that, she's an athletic individual. When most folks meet her, I know when I met her for the first time several years ago in California at one of Bob Harrison's events, she's imposing. I mean, she's a bodybuilder now, and very her arms are very impressive, and I remember being kind of like, wow. But then hear the whole backstory about her being, Olympic level Taekwondo. I mean, she had to be, a physically imposing person anyway. How did you kind of prepare yourself for that, to play somebody who's athletic? And I mean, are you athletic yourself? Are you into sports or things like that?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm active. I love to run. I like to go to the gym with my husband. But yes, when I realized I was playing the Michele, I mean, she is like the strongest woman I have ever met in my entire life. So you definitely don't want to be on her bad side. Not that I think she would ever even hurt a fly, but it was intimidating for a moment. I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm not that fit. I don't have these big guns in my arms. But, I also realized we're all different, and I will portray her heart. I may not look like her entirely physically, but I kind of had to put that aside and was like, okay, that I leave the muscles and all that for Michele. I'll just show the other parts of her that are wonderful.
I know that in the poster for the movie, at first glance, I actually kind of thought it was her. I was like, oh, does she make an appearance? But that's you in the picture there, and it's actually, it seems to have done a great job.
Yes, it's all in the glasses. So once I put those glasses on, I was like, whoa, okay, this is creepy. We look alike. Yeah.
All right, so let's get to some of the themes of the movie. What about the movie really touched your heart? Because I know it's a very emotional story.
I think what spoke to me the most was her endurance. She went through trials and she went through tribulations. She hit rock bottom, seems like more than once. And even though she wanted to quit, even though she wanted to end it all, she didn't give up. And I believe that was just God on the inside of her telling her, get up, you've got more. As long as you're breathing, as long as you're alive, I have more for you. And so that determination in her is extremely inspiring for me, because there's things in my life that I'm walking through right now that are very parallel to having to start a business. I actually thought about her this morning and I was like, oh my goodness, I feel like I'm walking in her shoes, because there are days I'm just like, I don't know if I could do this. I don't know if I could get to where my vision is. And then I just think about her and I'm like, she did it. She, I don't want to give the movie out, but, she was homeless and then she had failed accomplishments. And those are all reasons to say, I'm done. Maybe this isn't the route I need to take. Maybe I've made a mistake. I'm sure that goes through a lot of our minds. Like, maybe this is not where I needed to be. Maybe I wasn't supposed to go to the Olympics. Maybe I wasn't supposed to become a doctor. And all that doubt comes in. And she still prayed and agreed, and God came through. And I feel like I'm repeating Dr. Michele in my own life right now because I'm having to do those same steps she did. So it's really neat.
You know, it's I know we're talking about the movie here, but there's so many folks that, you know, during this time in this place in history that are going through that exact same thing, that there's, you know, they've lost their job from COVID, or, you know, with so much unrest in their communities, businesses have closed, have shuttered, and things like that. And so many people are in that same boat. I know that you've played this, and you've kind of gone through this yourself. Let's just turn it personally as an inspirational thing for our audience. What would you say is a good piece of advice for people that are going through this kind of same thing during this time in history to really get themselves up and to really keep going? What would you tell people?
Well, I would tell people, just like Michele is a believer in God, you know, we serve a sovereign God, and he's got a plan for us regardless of what we think. It may look gray all around us. You know, yes, there's job loss and there's sickness and there's all those things. But at the end of the day, God's got the victory. And sometimes it's in the big arenas, and sometimes it's just in the small segments of our life. Sometimes it's just trying to propel in our careers. It's getting a job. It's maybe healing for our loved ones. It's going through school. I know a lot of people weren't able to go through their graduation normally, and that's a discouragement. But God has a plan in all of it, in the good, the bad, and the ugly. He still has the victory. And I just want to encourage you all just to put your trust in him. Take your eyes off the problem. Take your eyes off of the discouragement. Take your eyes off the news. Just focus on you and God and what he has for you. So that would be my encouragement. That's how I daily encourage myself. I'm just like, okay, I have to take my eyes off the problem, and I have to focus on what's ahead of me. And I just have to do my best to just keep moving forward, one step in front of the other.
It's so good. The prayer list, Shattered Olympic Dreams, it comes out November the 20th. And Svetlana is playing Dr. Michele Neil. We're so excited to see it. We can't wait to actually get our hands on the movie. I think we're going to try and do a screening with our church. I know there are people that are going to be screening it around the country. I know that I talked to Dr. Mark, and he told me that it is going to get picked up by a distributor to go nationwide and worldwide, which is great news for everybody that needs to hear something like that. But Svetlana, man, it's amazing. Again, I'm looking at the pictures while I'm looking at you, and it's amazing the transformation that happened and how the story unfolds. We're so excited for you, so excited for the movie. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you. I'm extremely humbled and grateful to be a part of this.
All right, that is the modern day Carol Brady right there, folks. That's Svetlana Simmons. She plays Dr. Michele Neil in the Prayer List, the movie that's coming up November 20th. Have a great day. God bless, and we'll talk to you soon. All right, let's take a moment and stop for directions. You know, the Bible tells us so many stories of people who have had shattered dreams. And the part of this story in this movie is about a young lady who's extremely gifted, extremely talented, and her dream shatters right at her feet. I could go into so many different directions of Bible characters who had the same thing happen. But the one that springs to my mind is David. David is anointed king. He kills a giant, becomes part of the royal family. He actually becomes king. The Bible says he had a heart exactly like God's. And it's until he starts doing things that he's not supposed to do that he actually gets into trouble. Sometimes our dreams collapsing around us is because we did things wrong. Sometimes it's because people do things wrong to us. But the Bible says that David was supposed to be out at war. It says the time of year when kings go to war. David stayed behind. That's when he met Bathsheba. He has an affair. She becomes pregnant. And then he murders her husband. And then God comes and confronts him through the voice of the prophet. And Bathsheba and David actually lose the baby. His dream has been derailed. He was a man after God's own heart who was king, and is going to have another son, and now he's completely fallen apart. But the great thing about this story, just like Dr. Michelle's story, is it's not the end of the story. God's not done with you just because your dream has been shattered. Whether it's by your own hand or someone else's, God still has a plan and a purpose for you. David got up, he repented, he took the steps necessary to revive his dream. And that's what God wants to do with you today. If your dream's dead, if your dream's been put off, if your dream seems like it's impossible to go forward, know this: God still wants to use you that way. Do what you need to do to make that happen. If you need to repent, do it. If you need to start seeking advice, do it. If you need strength and encouragement, do it. I promise you, if you do, God's going to honor that dream in your life. That's going to wrap it up for the show today. I'm so excited for the Sherwoods and their movie entitled The Prayer List. If you'd like some more information about it, here it comes up on the screen right now. You can go to theprayerlistmovie.com, or you can follow along on Facebook at The Prayer List Movie. If you'd like to bring a screening to your area, just go on theprayerlistmovie.com and contact them. Tell them you'd like to bring a screening into your local theater. You could also work out something where you can have a viewing at your church. They're all about bringing this message of hope and restoration into the people's hands. So look for it. It drops in theaters November 21st, 2020. It's going to be a great thing for you to get your hands on. My thanks again today to Svetlana Simmons, who's playing Dr. Michele. A great job by Jody and Luke for another great broadcast today. We hope to see you guys soon on another podcast. It's a great time for you guys to just come by, stop, hang out with us. We love seeing you guys here so much. Until next time, I hope you found what you were looking for as you took the time today to expand your search and stop for directions. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks for joining us today. Connect with us on @ExpandingYourSearch on Facebook and Instagram, and @ExpandingSearch on Twitter. Relive any of our episodes on YouTube. We are available wherever podcasts are found, including Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. You can also download the Direction Ministries app on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. Take some time today to expand your search and stop for directions.